Joining me from London now is Tahani Mustafa, who's a senior Palestine analyst at the International Crisis Group. Really good to have you back with us, Tahani. A huge sense of relief for the long-suffering Palestinians of Gaza that we at least have the first phase of a ceasefire deal agreed upon by all parties. What's your reaction to the latest developments?
Thank you. And sorry, I just need to correct my affiliation now. That's with the European Council on Foreign Relations. But in terms of the first phase, I think we do need to caution optimism here. I don't think many, especially Palestinians, are expecting this to really last beyond the first phase, if not even just the first few days. I think this is definitely a much welcome reprieve that Gazans definitely do need. And if this does allow some levels of aid in, then that's also something worth being optimistic around. However, the real concern here is that as the deal stands now, the request for hostages to be released, hostage handover by Monday, and there's absolutely no guarantees that neither Israel will act in good faith this time round, especially given the way that we've seen Israel behave in retrospect back in January 2025, November 2024. So there's really just absolutely no guarantees that Israel will act in good faith, that Trump or the US can actually be a fair, neutral arbiter here in this conflict. And worse yet, the concern that even those Palestinians that are handed over won't be rearrested, as we've seen in the past.
And you're not alone in sharing those concerns because, as you pointed out, in the ceasefire that was agreed upon in January, those negotiations dragged on for many months. They were painstaking. They identified several phases that were agreed upon by both sides. But a couple of months after the ceasefire took effect, Israeli forces violated the agreement. How long do you expect this deal to last? Will Israel simply resume its attack after all of its hostages are released?
Well, precisely. Back in January, we saw Israel commit something like over 950 violations, as well as rescind on a lot of the agreements that had been made. This time round, I don't think many expect this deal to last. Best case, up until the first phase is completed. Worst case, a matter of days, we're speaking. If in fact Hamas has to hand over all hostages come Monday, then there's really no pretense for Israel to continue on with this. Once Hamas hands over all the cards at its disposal, which I think, even at this point, Hamas recognizes that the hostages are not the kind of playing card that they thought that they would be. And if anything, they've actually managed to empower Israel to do what it's done in Gaza. But in any case, even if all hostages are handed over, then that very much leaves Gaza completely vulnerable to returning back to open warfare. And even Hamas themselves are not under any illusion that could well be the case, especially given that Trump is very much adamant on pursuing a vanity project here around the Nobel Peace Prize. Once that's announced potentially tomorrow, as well as the fact that Israel gets everything it wants, there's really no guarantee here that things won't return back to open warfare.
Another key aspect of this deal is the gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from parts of the enclave. Our correspondents have been reporting that those troops are expected to withdraw from the northern part of Gaza. We know that Israeli forces had begun an offensive a few weeks ago to take Gaza City. Do you expect that to happen as promised?
Well, I mean, it very well could be. I think, that again, these are some of the more contentious sticking points in this deal, which really does make the implementation really complex. And worse yet, it's happening between two parties that have absolutely no trust between each other. The US has time and time again proven not to be a neutral arbiter. We have absolutely no international observers on the ground to monitor the situation, to enforce the terms of what has been agreed upon. And worse yet, we've seen in the past when issues like withdrawal have been on the table around even in the first phase, second phase, third phase, Israel has often rescinded on what has been agreed upon or redrawn the maps and terms of that. So I don't imagine in this instance, we've seen absolutely nothing to assume that this time is going to be any different.
Okay, Tahani Mustafa, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you again for joining us on the program.